Hi, it's Tracy. Welcome to your daily sales vitamin. Don't forget to sign up for Twitter. If you're not following us right now, go to our Facebook fan page to compete in our challenges, get recognition, see what your peers are doing. This is new, so we're going to have a lot of fun on this challenge aspect of our Facebook fan page. And that's all at tracybuild.com. So I was thinking, what do you do if people don't call you back? How many leads do you have right now that you're working that you've left 2, 3, 4 messages for and they simply aren't calling you back? Well, a few things that I'd like to recommend. Number one, you first have to recognize and be willing to acknowledge that they probably don't see the value in what you're offering. When people are not responding, it's typically because they're not interested. Now, it doesn't mean that they're not interested in senior housing in general. The fact is, they're not interested in what you have to offer. I know, and don't get mad at me because it happens to me as well. We're all guilty of sometimes talking more than we listen and not building enough value. And maybe you did a great job of listening, but they just didn't get it. So the number one strategy that you need to have is to go about building value. Now, first of all, how do you do that if they're not answering your calls? Well, if you're capturing email, then you can email them. If you've not captured email, there's a lesson right there. You have to start asking for email. I know that for our marketers and myself included, a majority of my sales are actually closed over email now because people are so busy that we can barely get each other on the phone. So when you're talking to your prospects, very casually say, after you've built the trust, it's probably at the end of your inquiry connection sheet, or if you ask them and they don't give it to you, ask again on the visit. And if they're not giving your email to you, that's a big red flag also, because that means they don't trust you. Trust is one of the most important factors you need to build to land the sale. So again, it goes back to your strategy of using the tools that we've given you to find needs, build value, earn trust. So you've got to use your inquiry connection sheet on all walk-ins and all phone calls. And you can't cut it short. You really need to make sure that you're asking 90% of the questions on that sheet. And in addition, branching off and asking questions of your own, relating back services, stories, examples. And remember, people forget facts. So if you're listing off the facts of your building and your services and your rates, they're going to forget about 95% of that, but they won't forget your stories. Stories are remembered, and I think the stat is like 5-1 on facts. So tell stories about your residents or of somebody who went through something similar that they're going through. And you don't have to use first and last names. You can say, we had a resident who, and share the stories. So back to getting the email, you want to keep asking, but when you ask, you want to be clear to say, oh, by the way, I've got a few things I'd like to send you. Can I get your email? So let them know that you need it for a reason. And then of course I won't share it, sell it. We won't solicit you. It's just strictly for our communication. So ask, and if you're not getting it, take heed. And you might even ask them, is there something I've done that's made you uncomfortable with me, to where you're concerned about giving me your email? Because it's a very important tool. You need at least 2 ways to get a hold of people today. You might want a main phone and a cell phone and an email. You need 2 ways though, or you're probably going to take twice as long to close your sale. So back to when they're not responding to you. So if they don't respond to your phone calls, if you have their email, which I know you're going to get going forward, then you can resort to shooting them a quick email. I found in my experience that people respond to email the same day, if not the same hour, when I've not been able to get them to respond to a phone call over the course of 2 weeks. So really what I do now is I make a phone call and then I immediately send this an email. And I say, hey, just want to let you know, Jack, that I sent you, I left you a voicemail this morning, but I know email's sometimes easier. And then I just jot down a quick message via email. That gives them 2 choices or 2 methods to follow up with me. So give that a try. I know you'll find it very successful. And what you want to do when you get them on the phone or when you get them engaged in email conversation is keep the focus on them. What is it that they want? What are their concerns? What are their frustrations? What have they done since you've last seen them? What is it that they're looking for in case you don't understand? What is their timeline? Who are the decision makers? In their dream situation, what kind of community would they ideally like to end up choosing or experiencing? So these are all open-ended questions questions, and these are the things you want to be digging down to. Because when you're asking these kind of questions, what it does is it lets them see that it's not about you, it's about them. And really, that's all they care about. It's sad but true. This is their situation. And then as you're hearing answers to these open-ended questions, remember they're not yes or no, they're open-ended, then you can relate back stories, experiences you've had personally, services that you have that can meet that need. And then you can build value in regards to getting them back in on site so you can tangibly show them those things that you just discussed that relate directly to their needs. So this is very important. So if they're saying to you, well, I know it's really silly, but my mother has had her hair done at the same place for the last 30 years. And she loves her hairdresser. This is an intimate relationship she's had. It's probably what she looks forward to more than anything out of every week. Then what you might do is offer to have your driver actually come and pick up her mother and take her to that hair appointment. Or you as a marketer may choose to say, hey, how about I actually pick her up, I'll take her, let you have the day off, and if she's comfortable after we get her hair done, I'll take her to lunch. And it'll be completely up to her, no strings attached. So what you're doing is you're starting to exemplify the services of your transportation. You know that's important. You're acknowledging it. You're demonstrating that service in action. So just a simple, creative, fun idea. And then you could even bring a gift of a one extra, or which may be paying for the haircut. A senior citizen is going to love this, particularly in today's environment. They're getting transportation. They're not being charged. They're getting their haircut paid for, but don't tell them. Make that part a surprise. You're giving them the royal treatment by offering to take this person to lunch. And by the way, find out from the daughter what the favorite place is for mom to go to lunch. And then you're helping the daughter because she's getting a couple hours off from something she would typically be responsible for. So this is how you would go about building trust. And it's not a quick overnight process. These sales have to be earned. Nobody's making quick decisions if it's not an emergency because people are afraid. Their consumer trust, as I've talked to you about before, is down. The number one thing we have to be doing today is earning trust, building trust, demonstrating you can be trusted so that when they make the decision to move, they have the confidence that you're going to deliver. So if people aren't responding, there's a reason. You've got to drill down with open-ended questions and find out why. I don't care if you've been doing this job 20 years and you're thinking, I don't know about that. And probably you're not feeling that way because you're watching this podcast. It's not the same. Selling is not the same today as it was 10, 12, 15 years ago. You have to invest in you. You have to be learning new sales strategies and techniques, and I'm so proud of you because you're here watching this podcast. You're on the right path. So have a great day. I know you can get a deposit. Focus on what it is you want, not what you don't want. Pay no attention to that. Keep your sights on being optimistic and focused on what you are going to do. Thanks, and have a great day.